It's a regular weekday morning. You get up, take your breakfast while scrolling through your favorite startup news media, and there it goes again. Another headline of a startup who just raised $10 million, and that's been the average daily news for a while now. Startups you never heard about raising X millions. And over time, you're getting confused. Why all these startups seems to be raised to the levels of gods on one day to later down the line sometimes be torn apart and reduced to ashes.
I don't know specifically.
You're attracted by the idea of entrepreneurship and excited by all these startups that pop up every day with these new ideas and innovation. But somehow you can't put the pieces together. Your friend is the CEO of a small startup and tells you every day how they struggle to retain customers, but somehow just raised another million. Many startups seem like zombie startups, half dead, half alive, trying to survive. How do these dying startups manage to maintain and live for another 2-3 years? Getting a big headline in the news media is great, but is it an achievement, or is it just the beginning? Or maybe it's not even the right goal anyway? And if so, is there a better way to start a business using a more iterative and experimental processes? Some would even dare to say scientific and data-driven approach. When starting a company, you usually face two choices: fundraising or bootstrapping. With fundraising, you're trying to approach VCs, meaning venture capitalists, to try to get money from them according to your startup metrics and/or based on a pitch deck. With bootstrapping, you don't ask any money from anybody and try to be profitable as fast as possible. On one side, you potentially have less control, and on the other side, potentially more freedom. But also on one side, high and potentially uncontrolled growth, while on the other side, slow but controlled growth. There have been many debates between these two different approaches. Basically, there are no right and wrong, just different angles, also depending on the nature of your business. My personal opinion is that the fundraising game can be a dangerous game. Some people can be driven by this with the wrong objectives. Appear on TV interviews, make mama proud, seeking social status, etc. It's very easy to get caught in that trap. You're praised by people you don't know, you get media coverage, but it also means that if you fail, you will fail publicly. If we think about what is fundraising in simple terms, it's only that some people trusted some other people's plan to solve a problem and make profit and gave them money to try to apply that plan. But I can see that's a much more boring headline title. I don't judge. We all have to play this clickbait game in this world of attention seeking. But there is no guarantee. People giving you money is not necessarily an extraordinary sign of success, since money in circulation has been booming lately. When you're bootstrapping, it's different. You are very cautious with your decisions because it's your money. It forces you to have a way healthier approach. You start with an MVP, minimum viable product, and go test the market in order to find a famous product market fit. It's a state where you want to get your company where there is a clear demand of your product from a targeted audience. Of course, it's not because you're fundraising that you don't have product market fit, but what is clear is that no matter the path you take, product market fit is the only thing you should be aiming to find. And this is where growth hacking comes into play, which is, in my opinion, the best way to know if you're getting close from it or not. So how to find product market fit? To maximize your odds of success, the best way is by having somewhat of a scientific approach, by clarifying the problem you're trying to solve and for which audience, making hypotheses and experimentations, being data-driven and very focused.
Well, guys like me don't get rich. We get sidetracked too easily.
There is a statement from Daniel Ek, the CEO of Spotify, that resonated with me. We believe that speed of iteration beats quality of iteration. What that means is that by having that mindset of testing and experimenting over many times, we'll make tiny but numerous improvements, and over time, this will compound greatly. You'll get an idea of how intelligent you are, and here, let's simply define intelligence the way Naval Ravikant does.
One of my other related tweets is, the only true test of intelligence is if you get what you want out of life.
If you think about it, being smart by leveraging data and computer science, that's what a hacker is. The term is now vastly used for cybersecurity, but the initial definition of a hacker is simply an advanced computer technology enthusiast. So what is growth hacking? There are many different definitions. My personal definition is a mix of three elements that are data-driven in programming automation, marketing and psychology behavior analysis, and finally, a bit of creativity and out-of-the-box thinking. If you enjoyed this content so far, please subscribe to the channel because I'll continue to touch on this kind of topics. And if you are interested in getting more knowledgeable in data-related topics, you should be interested by my first video about why data matters. It should be popping up somewhere on the screen. You could argue that growth hacking is simply marketing 2.0. And what is the initial definition of marketing? The right product for the right people at the right place. Growth hacking is not about doing illegal stuff or anything like this, but it's more about trying to think in unconventional ways. Think about all the available channels for your acquisition and overall marketing. To give you some ideas, here are some famous growth hacks examples. Airbnb emailed any new user who posted a listing on Craigslist to suggest they post their listing on the Airbnb platform. Every time an iPhone is sending an email, the signature of the email is saying "sent from an iPhone." Starbucks requested their employees to intentionally sometimes write in the wrong way the names of the customers so that the customer would always be surprised, take a picture of the Starbucks coffee with the logo and post it on social media for free. Coca-Cola launched an edition with names on the cans and bottles so that people would also post a photo on social media when they would see the name. Facebook discovered via their users' data analysis that if a user added 7 friends on Facebook in the days following up their sign-up, then this user would be hooked forever. And there are many more examples like this, using advanced programming, but as well simple ways like mailing paper envelopes with an original customized message. Alright, so you might be like, great Max, that sounds good, I'm aligned with this mindset, I like the idea, but I don't even know how to start implementing this. I felt overwhelmed with all the different directions to go. I'm in the dark here! At this point, if you're planning to start a company, you might be so lost that you are thinking, maybe I should instead work on a pitch deck to go fundraising, raise millions, stay at the head of the startup for a year, and then cash out. And this is where all the power of growth hacking surfaces. Because what comes with it is a very strong no bullshit community, as well as very simple and efficient methods and frameworks. Many of them are available so that you can start applying efficient processes right away and gain some clarity. The term growth hacking is not really new. Sean Ellis, one of the main figures of growth hacking, coined the term years ago. And already back in 2007, Dave McClure made this famous introduction of the R framework.
Join me in saying R.
The concept of R is a framework to help you structure your marketing approach and gives you an idea of your customer's life cycle. It starts with the acquisition, do people come to your product? Then the activation, do people use your product and have a great first-time experience? Then the retention, do people come back to your product? Then the referral, do people recommend your product to other people? And finally, the revenue, do people in the end buy your product? Another concept that really speaks to me, as I've been working with data for many years now, is the concept of North Star metric, which is the idea to really take a step back and try to define what is the main metric or KPI that will define how to measure the success of your startup at a certain moment. Of course, you'll also monitor other metrics, but the idea is that this main North Star metric should not vary and should be your compass. Once you start having a decent amount of users, a good way to know if you're on the right track is to reach out to your users and do a small, simple survey with one powerful question. How would you feel if you could no longer use the product? And you give 4 choices to that question. Very disappointed, somewhat disappointed, not disappointed, I no longer use the product. From that, look at the percentage of users who answered very disappointed, analyze who they are, and if you find a common pattern, then this is the type of audience you should focus on. Another useful method, in case you are a bit lost on which new features to prioritize, is to use the ICE method. Again here, this comes from Sean Ellis. ICE, ICE for impact, demonstrates how much your idea will positively affect the key metric that you're trying to improve. Confidence shows how sure you are about the impact. Ease is about the easiness of implementation. It is an estimation of how much effort and resources are required to implement this idea. Overall, this would give you your ICE scoring and should help you get more clarity on which features to launch next. Growth hacking should not be seen as a field of expertise, but more as a mindset. It should not be about tools or small hacks you find, because they'll dissipate over time. It's more about having the ability to adapt to your surroundings, be able to cross ideas and concepts from complete different environments. Being data-driven and really focus on the main KPIs help with avoiding overthinking and helps you being patient about your results. After a while and more experience, you might even come up with your own personal frameworks. And to arrive at that stage, there is no secret. You need to experiment yourself, try your own things, probably fail, and then adjust and believe that these tiny adjustments will compound over time. And I think that's a healthy grind. I hope this video gave you some clarity and made you curious to learn more about growth hacking. There is a ton of interesting content on the web. As you can imagine, after everything I shared in this video, I'm trying to be data-driven myself. So what I need from you is data, meaning feedbacks, whatever the form is, by subscribing to the channel, by liking this video if you liked it, or disliking it if you didn't like it. In that case, please let me know why. And simply by sharing your thoughts in the comments. Again, thank you for watching and see you at work.